Throughout Russell's lab in Half-Life Alyx, there are screens that appear to be showing and rotating through a couple of locations. If you look at the textures for these screens, you'll see that these locations appear to be early versions of maps. Some seem to be non-discrete streets in City 17. One appears to be a shot of the city that is using a lot of Half-Life 2 models, while another looks like an early version of the safe house that Eli and Alex are arrested in, and an early version of the street outside of the laundromat, an early version of Russell's lab's entrance window, an early version of the quarantine zone entrance, and what appears to be an early version of the rail yard outside of Russell's lab. This aligns with them being located in a folder named Joseph Hideout. Joseph is the name of a character that was in the game prior to release, who'd evolve into Russell. There are several other unused and incomplete monitor textures still in the game as well. These include ones named Brassbound, Citadel, Manor, Quarantine Zone, Train, and Fort Hideout. Some of these are obvious allusions to locations seen in-game, while Manor is a reference to a cut location from an early version of the game. It's unknown what Brassbound was intended to be. This is a very similar situation to the monitor bank in Dr. Kleiner's lab in Half-Life 2 that shows early versions of the train station maps. The Nexus in Half-Life 2 appears to have once been a prominent building in City 17, though what it was exactly before is unknown. In-game, Barney will say this when approaching the building from a distance.
There's an old building up ahead, a bank or museum or something like that. Whatever the hell it used to be, now it's a nexus for Overwatch in City 17. It's the main source of pain for this part of town, thanks to a huge suppression device. It's raining down hell from the roof of that place.
As seen in the 2003 beta build, and heard in the 20th anniversary developer commentary, Valve internally refers to the building as a bank.
Strider. This area in front of the bank was where we figured out the Strider. When we first saw the concept art for it, we knew we wanted to get it into the game. There were a ton of questions about how it would practically work.
The actual exterior to the building, though, is not based on any real bank. It is instead based off of a different type of real building, the Serbian Parliament building in Belgrade. It's unknown for the time being what the interior of the Nexus is based off of, and it does not give much of an indication as to what it was originally. This lack of indication is because of the extensive changes the Combine have made to the interior, along with decay and battle damage. Many of these rooms could fit a bank, a parliament, or even a museum. At a couple of points in Half-Life Alyx, you'll spot these Combine-affiliated workers. You can first spot them on Striders at the beginning of the game, as well as a corpse of one of them in the tunnels later. But at some point in the game's development history, they were to have a much larger presence. Scores of animations still remain attached to their model, including those for the guiding of vehicles, including the landing of one, they also have various idle animations, pair of animations for them to be carrying a panel of some kind, as well as some returning animations from Half-Life 2. In Hammer, the workers attached to the construction strider also sport a medical bag that isn't seen in-game. They're also going to go at least partially helmetless at one point, as there is also a remaining texture called Worker Bob Head, showing the upper part of a face. Episode 3 was to have new weapons, as seen in the Half-Life 2 20th anniversary documentary. David Sparer tells us about one of them, the ice gun.
Well, I worked on episode 3, and I was working on this gun called the ice gun that basically let you create amorphous shapes out of ice. So you could like raise a little ice wall in front of yourself. It would be attached to the floor, and then the Combine soldiers could shoot holes in it, and it would shatter and break like kind of like glass, I guess. So that was the primary mode of you could build ledges for yourself to get down, you know, cliff faces. It had another mode that was like a kind of like a Silver Surfer mode where you would extrude the ice in front of yourself and then run along it and use it to cross gaps, go over chasms and things like that.
The ice gun appears to have been tested as an additional feature for both the MP7 and the AR2. For the MP7 at least, you can see it fire normally and shooting ice. With Half-Life 2, we get the interesting opportunity to analyze and compare in detail two pre-release demos and its retail counterpart, should one exist. At E3 2002, to begin a longer sequence at Ravenholm, the player starts out at a dock near water before fighting zombies on the way to land. Here's the map in Hammer. Thanks to a remaining viz group, we can see that originally the ichthyosaur was supposed to appear and move around in this area before being cut. At E3 2003, a new demo focused on this dock sequence was shown off, with the extra town content shown in other demos. Here's that map in Hammer. As can be seen, the previously cut ichthyosaur path partly remains, right where the player falls into the water too. Thanks to a remaining viz group, we can see that Valve were considering reusing the E3 2002 3D skybox for the map. This dock sequence did not make it into retail Half-Life 2. However, the road into Ravenholm from the E3 2002 demo remains. It is right before you meet Father Grigori for the first time, behind a fence. Throughout a number of maps in Team Fortress 2, you may spot water towers that say Kerosene USA. Specifically, you can catch them officially on Thunder Mountain, Gravel Pit, Dust Bowl, Well, Sawmill, Upward, and Two Fort. A higher resolution version of the smallest of the water tower models can be found on the Meet the Heavy version of Dust Bowl. A town or county with the name of Kerosene does not appear to exist in the US. There is, however, numerous garrisons across the US, with one of them in New Mexico, northeast of Roswell and near the border with Texas. This would track with the Engineer Update webpage placing the maps of Team Fortress 2 in a region called the Badlands, and with the War Update comic putting the Badlands in New Mexico. It's possible then that Kerosene, or Garrison, is the in-universe name for one or part of all of the Badlands in New Mexico. Overpass in both CSGO and CS2 is a diffuse map. But where is it set? In CSGO, it is set in Germany, with German language signs everywhere. The tower in the skybox is the TV tower in Nuremberg, though the further city is actually a heavily edited image of Prague, Czechia. In CS2, Overpass is more specifically set in Berlin, Germany. The Berlin TV tower is in the skybox of the map. Along one of the highway overpasses, you can see a sign for the A113 Autobahn, which has several references to locations in and around Berlin. The A113 is a real highway that connects central Berlin to the southeast of the city. Now, where in Berlin is the map set? Underneath the Wursthalle restaurant is a U-Bahn station. Thanks to one of the maps we can see, Overpass is located at Alexanderplatz. This is confirmed by timetables showing trains coming from the U2, U5, and U8 lines. Alexanderplatz is a plaza located in central Berlin right near the base of the TV tower, aligning with the view and distance to it in the map skybox. In reality though, the canal system depicted in the map doesn't actually exist there. During the boss battle with GLaDOS in Portal 1, she will play various images on monitors above her frame. Although sometimes she will focus on one, they generally move past quite quick. So let's take a better look at them. These images can be broadly grouped together. The first major group, with an expansive inventory of pictures, is of cakes. There are about 40 images of just cakes on their own, including several focused on the cake you receive at the end of the game. Of the about 70 total cake images, a large amount of them are cake slices with various different tools referred to as utensils. The next broad group is that of wildlife and farming. There are several different pictures of mammals, and 5 of different kinds of birds. For farming, there are some shots of barns and farming equipment. Another group is referred to as science, and these are diagrams or artist renderings of various devices. There's also the group referred to as parts, which contain images of various electronics and electrical equipment. There are also several distinct images, including this upside-down shed, these benches, an image of the ancient Greek mathematician Euclid, this image of a violin, and this toy. The Black Mesa logo is also in the mix. The names for some of these more distinct images are also revealing, such as this one called Dumb, these two which are each called Hero, this one which is called Tech Room, this one which is called War Workers, this diagram of a liver which is named Heart, and this one being the Fort Hays Experiment Station. Fort Hays being a real place located in Kansas. In Left 4 Dead 1, the male common infected makes various sounds when attacking. A number of these sounds come from Portal 1, specifically the boss fight with GLaDOS. This scream is when you destroy a personality core. These sounds are from the anger core. The Horde Alert sound effect in Left 4 Dead 1 actually comes from Half-Life 1. You can hear it on a rail. For Left 4 Dead 2, a new Horde sound effect was created. And the infected have new re-recorded sounds.